All right, starting lesson 4.1. For the first example, they give us the slope and the y-intercept, and we simply need to write the equation. All right, so slope is your m, so m equals -3, and the y-intercept is your b equals 1/2. So just plugging those in the general linear equation, we get y equals -3x plus 1/2. Done. All right, for part B, the slope is 0. Y-intercept is -2. All right, so plugging those into the general formula, the general equation, we have 0x minus 2. So 0 times x is 0, so we just end up with y equals -2. Done. On to the next example. All right, write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form. Okay. All right, so they give us 2 points. And 2 points is all you need to figure out what the equation of that line is. All right, so first thing we're going to have to use is the slope formula. All right, it's rise over run. So plugging it in, I get, let's see, I'm going to label these here. Oops, that's x2, that's y2. All right, and that's a y there. All right, so I have y1, which is -3, minus y2, which is 3, over x1, which is 0, minus x2, which is 4. So I have -6 over -4, that's 3/2. All right, so now I have y is equal to 3/2 x plus b, okay? Because I'm just plugging 3/2 for the slope into the general equation. You still need to figure out what b is. Now, how do you figure out what b is? We'll choose either point, your choice, and plug in the x and y values, and you could solve for b. This one contains 0, so that's going to make my life easier, usually. So plug 0 in for x. All right, that's gone. I get -3 equals b. Now to complete the equation, I have y equals 3/2 x minus 3. Done. All right, on to the next one. Same deal, I got these 2 points here. That's my x1, y1. That's my x2, y2. So the slope is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Y1 is 2 minus y2 is -1 over x1, 0 minus x2, which is 4. So I have 2 plus 1, which is 3, and 0 minus 4, which is -4. All right, so there's my slope. Actually, let's plug that into the general equation. Okay, now I'm going to plug in this point, all right, the x and y values. I could just as well use these values, but since this one has 0, I'll typically make your life easier. So I'll plug that in. I missed the y here. What am I plugging in for y? 2. All right, then I have 0 plus b. All right, so I get 2 for b. So to complete my equation, I have y equals -3/4 x plus 2. Okay, that's all there is to it. Just so you guys get good with the math, what if we didn't have 0 to work with? So I'm going to choose this point instead and plug that in. So I'm going to have -1 equals -3/4 times 4 plus b. Now notice that these will cancel out, and I'll get -1 equals 3, or sorry, -3 plus b, add 3, and I once again get 2 for b. So either point you choose will give you the same y-intercept. All right, just want to make sure you understand how to do the math, regardless of what values are contained in the coordinate point. All right, let's go on to the next example. Write an equation of each line that passes through the given points. All right, so you're pretty much doing the same thing again, except this time they don't give you a line or a grid. They just give you the points. All right, so let's just label them. All right, let's figure out the slope first. Got y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. I have 5 minus -1, which is 6, because you're adding here. And then I have -3, so that gives me -2. So I have y equals -2x plus b. All right, let's choose the value at the 0, make life easier. All right, to figure out what b is, so I have negative 1 is equal to negative 2 times 0 plus b. So I have negative 1 equals b. And then I end up with y equals negative 2x minus 1. Done. On to the next example. x1, y1, x2, y2. This should be getting pretty easy by this point. So rise over run. y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So I have negative 5 plus 5, that's 0, over negative 8, which is just 0. So I have y equals 0x plus b. So now I just get y equals b. So what does this mean? Well, I could choose either point, all right? And I'll just choose this one, for example. Plug in the x and y values. Well, there's no x value to plug the 8 into, so you don't have to do that. But I'm going to plug the negative 5 into the y. All right, so then I could complete my equation now. B is equal to, or I could put it here just as well, negative 5, so y equals 0x minus 5, or just y equals negative 5. All right, done with that one. Last example, write a linear function f with the values. Okay, they're using function notation here. All right, so what does this mean exactly? So this is like f of x right here. So this is your x value. And recall that f of x is the same thing as what? Y. So whatever this is equal to, that represents your y value. So that's your x1, and that's your y1. That's your x2, and that's your y2. It's as simple as that. So it's basically the same as what we did before, but if you don't understand this notation, you'll get thrown off by it, but it's actually very simple. So let's figure out the slope. y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So I have negative 24 over negative 6, which is 4. So I get y equals 4x plus b. All right, once again, choose whichever values you want, whichever point. I'll choose those. So I have 10 is equal to 4 times x, which is 0, plus b. So my b is 10 now. So I end up with y is equal to 4x plus 10. All right, it's as simple as that. All right, so you just have to know your slope formula. Slope formula. You'll use that very often. All right, make sure not to mix up the values. Watch out for the negatives. You need to know the slope-intercept form equation. Slope-intercept. All right, and that's all there is to it. All right, if you have any questions, make sure to ask. Begin the assignment at the bottom of the webpage.